This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
All right, so Michelle went skiing over the weekend.
Yeah.
And she took the twins. And she binge listened to a ton of our episodes. Right? Which makes me a couple of things like, well, evidently she's way behind because she said that she had listened to like 10 of them. Like, well, how can you listen to 10? You've already listened to them. Anyways, when she gets home, she tells me that I'm far more pleasant on the show than I am in real life. Yeah. Have you ever got that from Bridget?
No.
Because I don't think I'm particularly pleasant here on the
Well,
on the
and your nickname is Mr. Mean in real life.
But she goes, I listen to the show, I really enjoy it. You're really very pleasant and nice and funny. Like, well, what does that mean?
Well, she was attracted to you at some point. And she did marry you.
Well, she actually she thought I was gay at first.
Did she really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I never heard this story.
Yeah, she thought I was gay.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Do you have some affectations that I've missed?
Well, winner of Femme of the Year back in...
Well, okay.
But that was
right.
a few years beforehand that we met. She just... I got...
Because you're too chatty?
Yeah, or just, because I dressed so well.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah.
Like, really, you thought I was gay?
Because of all the manscaping that you do? Okay, well, hey, listen. Minutia Men is a show that we do, and it's on now. So don't go anywhere.
The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie production on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
Is that an Armani sweatpants? Well, back in the 80s was concert T-shirts and flannel shirts.
Yeah.
That was which is now retro and very...
Hey, you'd be very cool right now.
Hey, we got a lot of... We got to get cooking here.
Okay,
we got a lot of stuff to do. Hey, we haven't had a Florida story in actually a pretty long time. So, Jeeves, can you fire up the...
you told me we would need Jenkins, and then we would need Florida. So I had Jenkins ready to go, and now I have to find... Here we go. Here's Florida.
What's wrong with you, Florida?
Headline out of Florida. Burglars call 911 to get help moving stuff from a home they just burglarized. A couple in Polk County, Florida, were arrested on Tuesday after one of them made a 911 call.
I mean, this state really is insane, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, come on. So, because one of them made a 911 call to ask for assistance when moving items from a home while they were burglarizing it.
Sure.
Now, the story is going to be a little bit hard to follow here.
Okay.
I think there's some holes in it, too. I'm not 100%, Well, evidently, this couple goes into this house.
Yeah.
And they start
stealing stuff.
And then evidently the female suspect called 911. And when the dispatcher answered, she didn't say anything.
Okay.
So it was just silent.
So was it like a butt dial or something?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think she may have just gotten... Maybe I shouldn't do this.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's not a good idea to ask for this.
But she was on the phone long enough for them to trace the phone call.
Okay.
And then the dispatcher was concerned because I imagine people call 911 and they can't talk or whatever.
Sure. They're usually not calling for this reason.
No, exactly. So when the deputies arrived, they found a male and a female moving stuff around the living room.
Yeah.
You're right. And then after a couple of questions, we don't live here. I don't know. And then they quickly ascertained, that's a cop word, by the way.
It is.
That neither of these people lived in the house. They were burglarizing the joint. Yeah. While talking to the deputies, the female suspect told them that she had called 911 for the purpose of having law enforcement help them move stuff from the house that they were burglarizing.
Oh my God.
According to the sheriff, the couple then asked the deputies if they could get a ride to the airport so they could spend the weekend in New York City.
Yeah.
Because have you checked out the Ubers and the price surge?
Well, I mean, and after you rob a house, it is just draining.
Right, you need some time off. A little me time.
Right.
So instead of going to the airport, needless to say, they got a ride to the Polk County Pookie instead. The male suspect was also identified as a suspect in a dollar store burglary that happened the day before.
Okay.
So they had video footage on him. Now, I get it.
Well, first of all, I get it. You rob a dollar store. What are you going to get?
Right,
really?
exactly.
I mean,
here's some plastic whistles.
Right, exactly.
Now, I've moved.
Yes.
You've moved.
Yes.
Right? It's hard work.
It sucks.
Right? It's a pain in the ass.
Sucks.
And evidently they didn't have that group of friends that they can buy a couple of crappy pizzas for and, some cheap beer and say, hey, can you, help with this hard labor? But
that's why most robberies have gangs.
Because there's more.
It's a lot of work.
Absolutely.
You got to split the jobs up.
Right. I would be the worst gang member.
Oh, my God.
Right. I'd also be the worst mover.
Well, yes.
Right.
Yes. My son Johnny, who you just met moments ago.
Right. I had met him 20 years ago.
He was going off to work, but for a while he worked as a mover.
Yeah.
And he's, of my frame, basically, and maybe not meant to be a mover.
Yeah.
But they would move like pianos and, huge
brass
furniture and
stuff,
couches and stuff. And after about 7 days of that, he's like,
it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, so I remember, you've moved quite a few times with Bridget, right?
Sure. Well, actually only twice.
I remember when we would move every year for a little while when we were younger. I don't know why we did that. But I remember at one point, the mere sound of her voice made me nauseous while we were moving. Because everything out of her mouth was, did you do blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, and in 6 months from now, when she listens to this show, this is going to really piss her off.
Right. And I don't know if Bridget's like, when Michelle she gets a little bossy sometimes when it comes to moving, and I don't respond very well to bossy.
I don't either, and my boys are absolutely terrified of Bridget in situations like that because bossy is the right word. Well, I have a story actually that kind of ties into yours. This is a story about Saskatchewan, Canada, and the police there remind residents, please don't abuse the 911 emergency line. And they did that by revealing some of their more unusual calls of 2022. So let me go over some of these. I think you're going to enjoy them.
This is a great tie-in, a great segue from my story.
It
is.
Like
a theme.
It is. For instance, they got in 2022, they had a caller who requested assistance deleting a voicemail from their phone. Not quite to the level of 911. Another caller whose bathtub drain was clogged.
Okay.
Now that's an emergency.
Well, and it's not my fault because I don't have any hair.
Yeah.
But my daughters, they all have a lot of hair, and they are not.
Don't use 911.
Okay.
There's just a tip. Right. A caller who used the emergency line to avoid being put on hold in a request for paperwork. So my theory on this one is they had to get some paperwork from the police department. They knew if they called a regular phone line, they'd be on hold forever. Right. So you go you cut right to the chase.
Cut to the chase.
You shouldn't do that.
Okay.
You shouldn't do that.
The man's always bringing us news.
Yes. There's another here. A 911 caller reported their roommate had eaten their takeout order, which doesn't quite rise to the level.
Well, you remember Steve Quinn and me fighing over an egg roll or an onion roll.
Yes,
an onion roll.
I do. Another one called because they were out of milk. Another one called because they had swallowed a mosquito and they thought that they might lose their dentures.
It's a mosquito.
That might be my favorite, but it's not my favorite because this next one is my favorite. A caller reported a hostile cat in the neighborhood. Right?
Oh, so not even in the house. It's just
but it was a hostile cat. It was a cougar.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a cougar like an animal. It was an older lady who wouldn't stop hitting on him.
Are you serious?
I'm totally serious.
Wow.
That.
Hey, how you doing? Mrs. McGillicuddy.
Yeah, she won't leave me alone.
It's the 7th brisket she has given me this week. I mean,
I don't want any more lasagna. Get back off, lady. So that is the story of Saskatchewan, Canada, and their 911 line.
Hey, we got a really nice review.
Oh,
Mac Jackson
on
Apple Podcasts writes, "This is a fun podcast with natural conversation. You'll be excited for each new episode, and the guests make it just unpredictable enough."
Okay. Well, that sounds good. You can rate us.
Do you think anybody's really excited for our next
I am.
Okay.
I am. You can rate us. You can review us. You can follow us. If you like Minutia Men, check out some of the other programs on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network and pick out your favorite new show at opishows.com. Remember, Opie is hippo backwards, OPPIH shows.com. We still have several other features that we're going to do today, and one of them is entitled, do you remember what it's entitled?
Studio Walls.
Time now for Studio Walls.
And the words of the prophets were written on the studio walls. Weekendlies!
I was kind of struggling trying to find the jingle. You're giving me too many jingles today. So today is the anniversary of the Sopranos coming out in 1999.
Isn't that crazy? 24 years ago.
Yeah, 24 years ago. Yeah. And we've had one of the
my favorite character.
A great character. Yeah. The man who played Vito, Joseph Ganiscoli, has been on our show. And if you don't mind, we'd like to play a little clip from that, because I think you'll get a little background into the character of Vito and how it came to be.
All right, guys, what's happening?
So, you probably hear from Sopranos fans all the time. We are both huge fans of that show. The question I have is, all you guys were so convincing as mobsters. Did you grow up around mobsters? Did you base the characters on anybody you knew?
Well, I didn't base my character on anybody I knew, just from a book I was reading. But I grew up in Brooklyn, and usually from like where you're from, you'll see a lot of Italian guys that are connected, and they're real guys. So being in the restaurant business, I had restaurants in Brooklyn. They were hot restaurants. So girls come to the restaurants, and naturally wise guys follow. So, I saw a lot of them. I knew a lot of them. And they're not around or away. And,
on vacation.
You got 3 to 5 year vacation.
Pretty much.
Yeah. As the thing that I loved about Vito was such a complex character. You were a closeted gay man, and I understand that the whole idea was yours, based on something that happened in real life, to put to make Vito gay. Is that true, or can you kind of walk us through that?
No, it didn't happen in any life I knew. It was from a book I was reading called Murder Machine. And it was about a crew that in Brooklyn that Roy DeMeo ran. And I recommend reading it. And I was reading it. And in his crew, he had a gay guy named Vito, believe it or not. And I took the idea to one of the writers. And actually took them 2 years to actually do something with it. But I'm proud to say that it's the only suggestion that David Chase used from any of the actors.
Oh my God! Well, it was a great suggestion. I mean, it really made
that whole storyline was really interesting. I thought. I mean, it's something that you never see in any other mob movie or mob related thing.
Well, that's why I suggested it, because it's something you never saw, and it was real. And just like any of the actors, they always want more lines, more situations, more scenes to develop, chew on, and act in. So I went for something that was totally, opposite of who I am, and it worked out. It changed my life, and I'm happy it happened. I was very lucky and fortunate to be at the right time, the right place.
I'm listening to the Talking Sopranos podcast. Have you listened to that? It's with Steve Sciarippa and Michael Imperioli.
Oh, really?
And it's great. They break down every episode, and they're having it's actually they're not doing new ones. It's a couple of years ago they did it during COVID. It is great. I mean, it is from Sopranos, and actually I just had this discussion this weekend around the poker table at the Rivers Casino.
Every time you bring up the poker table, I think,
do you get a little?
I get a little queasy as your business partner. I get a little queasy.
So, what is your list of best bingeable series that you've?
Yeah,
Sopranos is
it's got to be on there,
and Breaking Bad, Sopranos. I think are and Better Call Saul.
Well, if you want to hear more of this episode, including a portion where Vito tells us
about what he loves about Chicago,
where he hangs out the Viagra Triangle.
Hey,
I love that.
With all the broads.
I love that place. That's fantastic. You can listen to the Minutia Men Celebrity Interview on Spotify, Amazon Music Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher. It's everywhere. iHeartRadio. That particular episode is episode 15, if you'd like to find it. Do you have anything else to share with us?
I don't want to put too much, effort on your part, make you have too much effort, but I need now the Jenkins jingle.
Okay. Now I'm ready for it.
When you're on the job and you're not doing it right. Jenkins! Time now for Dave to share stories of employee screw-ups. Jenkins! It could only be Jenkins with Rick and Dave. Jenkins!
I always forget he does that last Jenkins.
Just to throw you up.
Medical group's holiday text message turns into the stuff of nightmares.
Oh.
Thousands of patients at a British Thousands of patients at a British medical clinic received some horrific news just before Christmas when they were told via text message that they had aggressive lung cancer.
Oh, my God.
Thankfully, the messages from the Askern Medical Practice in Doncaster, England, turned out to be a mistake. Please accept our sincere apologies for the previous text message. The clinic said in a follow-up text message.
Oh, my God, Jenkins.
An hour later.
Oh, my God.
This has been sent in error. Our message to you should have read...
It's pancreatic cancer.
Right. Our message should have read, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Wow.
A very common mistake.
Wow. That's fantastic. What a goof up that is.
So the BBC interviewed some patients that ended up getting this text messages, and let me tell you, patient Sarah Hargreaves told the broadcaster, or the BBC, that she had been waiting for a biopsy results when she received the message, and she felt sick to my teeth.
Wow.
Patient Chris Reed told the Sun that his partner burst into tears upon hearing the news. He called the clinic, couldn't get through, and drove over to the clinic. And patient Carl Chegwell told NPR he's seriously considering changing clinics. Like, come on.
Wow.
Right. So what I did, as I do researching, there's a subreddit. I think that's what it's called.
Okay.
Reddit.
You spend a lot of time on Reddit
Right.
while you're playing poker.
Right, exactly. And they share embarrassing text threads that they were either sent by accident or they... Okay, it's not business related, but I found some good ones. Here's one. Help. I'm texting you from Aaron's bathroom. This is the worst effing date ever. Call me with a fake emergency to get me out of here. Okay. Response. Hi, Kat. It's Aaron. You can come out and leave. Really, I'm not that into you either.
Wow.
So she sent it to the guy.
Whoopsie daisy.
Here we go. Here's another one from Jenny. I took Jenny to Red Lobster and she ate enough food for 20 people. I'm going to have to get a second job to feed this BITC.
Yeah.
Response. 2 words, Gary. Fucking you.
Wow.
And then the response was, oh, sorry for that. I was just joking around. I'm sorry. And then the next one, the response to that was, hey, asshole, it was unlimited shrimp night. You didn't cost you any extra money. So that was one.
Okay.
Here's this may be my favorite from Dad. You and me in my office in 15 minutes. Be naked when I get there. Dad! Oh, wrong person, meant for your mom. WTF, I just talked to her and she's in Austin till Saturday. Who were you sending this to?
Oh, wow.
And his response was, oh, shit. So there you go.
Wow, he not only felt the oh shit, he typed it out.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty good.
So be careful out there, kids, that when you're going to hit the...
Yeah, there's
the
a lot of
button.
Jenkinses there.
Yeah.
You know, people here in America We just experienced a whole week of Jenkins watching the House of Representatives. Yeah. It was that was something when they were trying to elect a speaker.
Congressman Jenkins, can you vote? Congressman Jenkins.
Yes, but what was awesome about that is there were no rules yet about the C-SPAN cameras, because every Congress, they come up with the rules for what C-SPAN can show and what they can't show.
So they had no parameters. So it was just a free-for-all.
And that's why you have so many cool videos of
people trying to punch each other and stuff.
Yeah. You would, normally, none of that would have been captured on film. But because the C-SPAN had free reign, they... were allowed to go wherever. And there was an incident where some guy, I forget which congressman, tried to go after Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
Well, the people at Bad Lip Reading,
oh my God, they're great. Yeah,
are so good.
Yep.
They're so good. And if you haven't seen it yet, I recommend you go out and get it. You don't really need to see the video to understand it. You've probably already seen the video. It's the moment where Kevin McCarthy storms down the aisle to confront Matt Gaetz.
After he got kicked in the stomach 15 times.
After the 14th kick in the stomach. Right. And that's right when at the end you'll see the guy coming like he's going to take him out. Yeah. All right. So that's the scene. Bad Lip Reading, though. This is how they interpret this scene. All right. The first voice you'll hear is the Matt Gaetz or is the Kevin McCarthy voice. Here we go.
Son, what does it go for, Bill? Can you say it? Well, who knows? A really rich doctor said you were a bummer. And I think you don't know algebra. No, we're talking science, bud. The science of what? Is that a tiger? One of your friends promised me I could flick you in your face. Absolutely, you may not do that.
Hit him in his cringy smirk, for real.
Is that Marjorie Taylor?
Say any cereal name. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. You're like people in the 12th century. Why'd he say it like that? You're a formulated pickle popper.
He's a storm cloud.
I don't like you, dude. And there's a tiger. Oh, that's it. You two guys sent the tiger.
I did not me.
What tiger? That is reprehensible.
Okay,
Brad,
I'm a horrible person.
Brad, I'll report you to Nadine. I just want your leg bones to be okay. I brought the tiger. You got somebody on the organ now? Hey man, you're gonna pay for dinner. You're gonna pay. No.
Oh man,
they're spot on.
They match perfectly to the lip movements.
We should get one of the lip reading guys on the show to see how they do that. Oh my God,
it is so funny. Anyway, you can check it out if you'd like to. It's badlipreading.com. Go out there and enjoy. It gets some enjoyment out of the cluster that is the United States Congress.
Hey, we're opening up an office in Brazil, by the way.
Okay. Oh my God, that's the other thing. By the way, did you see that Steve Bannon is?
He's like he called them patriots, didn't he?
He's like advising Bolsonaro or whatever. Let's not get into politics, because we still have other features in the show, including this.
A random name pulled out of Rick's bowl of brushes with celebrities. Mixture, collection, selection, assemblage, medley, assortment, variety. Time now for Celebrity Potpourri with Rick and Dave.
So this is the part of the show where we feature celebrity stories. And this week we got an email from Dave B. And it's a local flavor story. So, not everybody may know this local celebrity, but I'm going to run it by you.
It's our show. We can do it pretty much.
That's exactly right. Guys, I grew up in Hinsdale, the birthplace of a huge star in the late 1960s and early 70s. My mom was there and saw this big star before he was known. He grew up on Salt Creek in Hinsdale and was discovered by the Leo Burnett Advertising Agency in 1968. His home in Hinsdale was the Hinsdale Humane Society, where my mom worked.
I know who it is.
His name was?
Morris the Cat.
Morris the Cat.
Yeah.
The real Morris, according to my mom, was not finicky at all, and he didn't confine his eating habits to 9 Lives cat food, and he lived to a ripe old age until 1978. And there have been a few others, Morris's, since then. All of them were rescue cats, which is nice, from the Humane Society. But I thought you guys would like a slightly different celebrity story.
So I always heard rumors, and I don't know if this is true, that they would always starve the animals before a commercial because they were so hungry. So they would then eat the food.
Ah, well, then how did they get the finicky part?
Then they may have overfed.
Oh, maybe they filmed it in reverse order. Huh?
Well, you have a bachelor's in advertising.
Let's think about it.
You're making Dean Ulfeld very proud right now.
Think about it. All right. Well, anyway, that's a nice story. You can send us your stories. We're available via Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and what else? Email.
And we're going to start TikToking this year.
Are we?
I don't know.
We should. We absolutely should. And we have another show, too, which is called the Minutia Men Celebrity Interview.
Yeah, Rick. And we've got coming up Lou Macaluso.
Yeah.
Actually, it should be on right now.
It might be, yeah.
He's one of our authors, an Eckhart Press author, and he wrote a book called Leaving Glory for Greatness.
Right.
And it's a biography of a really remarkable man in the 60s.
Yeah.
His name was Lamar Thomas.
Yep.
And he was an athlete, but really was influential with the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
Really, and it's when you're thinking about what's going on in the world right now with Black Lives Matter and the whole, I mean, it's really applicable.
It is. It's good.
It's a great book.
Lou may not be a celebrity, but the people that he tells us about, like Lamar or Bubba Smith is in the story. Duffy Doherty, the Michigan State coach, is in the story. Martin Luther King Jr. Does he qualify?
Yeah, I think so.
Does he qualify?
Tom
Come on.
They're all there.
So anyway, check out Minutia Men Celebrity Interview. Special thanks to our executive producer, Tony Lasano with opishows.com. Opie is hippo backwards, OPPIH shows.com. We're distributed by Ed Silla with Radio Misfits. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It just moved to a better place. RadioMisfits.com. And we'll be back again next week with a brand new episode of
Minutia Men.
The proceeding was a presentation of Opie Productions. Find our other great shows wherever you find podcasts, including opishows.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?
What do you get when you hear a celebrity Minutia Men interview, Dave?
You will get Mark Cuban and Anthony Scaramucci, Cousin Oliver from the Brady Bunch, and the bully from The Christmas Story.
Yes.
The voice of Siri, and She Shed Cheryl. My God, the list goes on.
So you'll get Minutia, Celebrity Minutia Men Interview, a Tony Lasano podcast. Go to opishows.com or wherever you find podcasts. Just search for Radio Misfits.